in and spin up.
Yeah. Sit down, just stand up.
Yeah, good morning. We'll begin this meeting. I'm Bill Ken, the Custer County Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. Today is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, and we have 9 o'clock here on my computer. 9:01 now. So if you have a cell phone, please silence it. I'll do the same. And this meeting is being recorded both on Zoom and YouTube and the official recorder, Kelly. So with that, let's stand and I'll join you in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow our heads for this. Excuse me. Lord, we ask you that you watch over us today, making the managerial decisions that the board needs to complete in order to run our county government. We ask for your guidance over blessing us today, every day coming forth, and especially blessings for the citizens in need. We do this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for the rain.
Yeah, well, a little spread out would be good.
Roll call, Kelly.
Commissioner Canada.
Here.
Commissioner Epp.
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong.
Here.
County Attorney Dan Slater.
Here.
BOCC Admin Caitlin Womack. Here. And Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Audience introduction, we'll start with Marty.
Marty Newcomb, resident, rural resident.
Next.
Nona Blackhawk, resident of Black.
Say it again, loud,
Nona Blackhawk, resident of.
for Kelly's benefit.
Of Silver.
Next.
Oh, Russell Johnson, resident, Custer County.
Tim. You're up, Jim.
Jim Shadland.
John Mapes, Custer County IT and GIS.
Rich Smith, Custer County Sheriff.
Back over here on the other side.
And I'm Trevor Deardorff with Amethyst Computer Networks. John Watts with Leasing Specialist.
In the back with Virginia.
Virginia Trujillo's treasurer.
James Gilbert.
Okay, that's everybody. Okay, any amendments?
None from me.
I have none.
Okay, I do not. Okay, approval of the minutes, August 13th, 2025. I move we accept the minutes from August 13th, 2025, written as they are.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Thank you, Kelly. Good job.
You're welcome.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Vogelsong, aye.
And so did your computer. Aye. Gonna get some feedback. You there, John?
I'll get rid of this.
Okay, next we've got commissioner items. I'm gonna start off with one statement here first, and then we'll do that. How many of you have heard about the raid? Anybody hear about a raid? Well, there's rumors going around and people are calling it a raid on the VSO. There was not a raid, but there was a search warrant, and I'll read you this statement that the sheriff put out and make sure everybody's on the same sheet, and you can put the rumors down and head with this understanding. The Custer County Sheriff's Office did serve a search warrant at the courthouse today, and that was yesterday, but neither the VSO nor the county is a target of the investigation. That's want everybody to understand. The VSO continues to provide valuable services to the veterans, and there is no indication of their involvement in this incident. So I've had some calls from veterans, and somehow the rumor gets out. I mean, the minute that happened yesterday, people are talking, and so Dominic wanted everybody to understand nothing's changed, and he's got full access to everything he needs to do the good job he's doing for all the veterans. So that's important. Business as usual. So with that, other items, Lucas?
Well, we didn't have a meeting last
not a week, so it's been a couple weeks. Just been spending time with, those board members on our workforce housing, committee, going through options there. And then, Custer County Kids Council had a meeting, that I attended. We discussed what their needs are going into the new school season. So they're more heavily involved now that school has started, so, the housing board and the Custer County Kids Council, Stacy Terrell, work together a lot. They have some of the, kind of the same needs, and same challenges moving forward with both, lack of housing and lack of childcare. So, they've really started working together on what they can do together as well, so. Other than that, just workshops and getting ready for the budget season and talking about budget and looking at the budget and looking at what next year might bring, so.
Yeah, our budget meeting's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll be planning hearings here, probably every chance we can get in September, so October 15th, it's gotta get posted, so.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Paul?
Some people in District 2, especially the Bear Basin areas, had some comments about the roads and the washouts. We had some pretty heavy rain out that direction. And Road and Bridge has been driving that, so they have seen the damage. I reported it, the phone calls that I've been receiving or the meetings at my mailbox. And so 26, Oak Creek Grade has a pretty good washout. Be cautious there. There'll be cones and work for people out there taking care of that. And also 265 Boneyard Drive there has a washout just at the blind corner. So if you're traveling on 265, please slow down. There is some standing water there also. There's a clogged a culvert right there on the downside of Bradbury. So just slow down, be cautious, look out for equipment, and they're going to be acting on that very shortly. We did not have a meeting last week, so therefore had some time to meet with the department heads over their budgets, their operations, and everything seems to be working fine with everyone that I'm oversight for. We had a good airport fair out there. It was very nice to see all the people. Mother Nature held off and gave us a good weekend, so about all I have.
Yeah, it went really well. A lot of good turnout on it. Big item, I attended several meetings. I went to the District 11, or Mountain District meeting in Silverthorne. Big items there. We in these Mountain District meetings in the summertime, we look at what the legislature has in front of them, all the pending bills, things that may pass, things that might have passed, and things that did pass. Big item there, and we're going to discuss one of that, be on the agenda today, and that is we get every day, it seems like, an unfunded mandate from the state legislature, or from the state. They pass these bills and no money comes with it and expect the county to ride on our backs. We can't do it and provide the services, the essential services to survive as a county and serve the citizens. So there is a movement on all counties, and it's it's bipartisan, that says any unfunded mandate, and we'll discuss this a little later, that they pass and send down to us, we're going to look at it and see what we can do with them. But if we can't handle it, we're going to tell them it's optional, and we're writing a letter as stating that to the governor. Every county is. And so that's what we're going to propose today when it says, it's the very last thing, it's the county's position on the unfunded mandates. Every county, we've got a lot of people already have done it, and there's many mandates, and some that affect others more than this county. So we're going to take a look and see what mandates specifically. For example, even the sheriff got one that recently came down, and by law, and when you get after, I think it's the 30th of September, he has to, anybody buying a gun has to go to the sheriff and ask for permission to get one. And so the only way you can get permission is to give a test, to make sure they can do it. And you've got there's an 8-hour test to give, and then you can take that test and go to a store and buy a gun and ammo. If you don't have that permission slip, you can't do it. And so that takes money too, to do that testing, for example. We've got an 8-hour day, and all the people that might be wanting to buy a gun, it's gonna be a pretty busy job. And take away a deputy from some other vital function, or maybe have to hire another person. So we'll talk about that later. Upper Ark also was there, and they are definitely coming. They want to present the status of all the projects they've got, and 2 of them affect us up here. The major one is the raising Lake Deweese level 4 feet. That's getting more traction on it, and also working with the augmenting the water for the cities of Silver Cliff and West Cliff for Round Mountain. That's a new well that's been put in a pond that has to be developed to augment for that. So we'll learn all about that, and that will be at Rancher's Roost as soon as the chairman over there gets back with me with the dates that they want to be here, and that'll be soon. And as soon as I get it, Caitlin, I'll get into you to schedule it up. And then I'll echo the road and bridge. On the road and bridge, I get most of the complaints, but we all 3 get them. And poor Vince is the funnel that goes to the road and bridge. We have a priority, and I've asked Vince to make sure we'll get it on the website too, of the worst roads that we can find to the best roads. And that's right now with this rain, about all the roads are bad except the ones that have been chip sealed. And so be patient. We got 7 blades and a few other, some water trucks and all that kind of thing. It has to hit it all. And so and Vince recognizes that he cruises those roads, he knows them, he gets in reports from us and you all. So the eventual goal is, and don't complain about the asphalt. We're not asphalting the roads. They're putting down the shoulders and filling the holes so they can chip seal. And that's why it's the way it is. And some of that, we had some breakdowns on the equipment, and we've got that under control now. Apparently, we've got a new roller the roller being fixed, a chip seal machine, and we've got a backup chip seal as well. Coming soon for good money, and it's fitting the budgets that we have now. So that's good news. Problem is the weather's coming in, and so we can't asphalt much. It'll be a day or 2 maybe, and then you're going to see the road be what it is, and the speed limits are lower because of that. They're running 35 where we can, and we've had problems on them when he is plowing or dragging the road down or grading it. People see the sign and slow down getting into it, but they speed up in the middle. We've had people actually smack up in the middle of those because they run over a windrow and then get high centered or hit a rock. So we're going to be watching the middle of those projects as well, and the sheriff's doing a good job with his deputies and volunteers, the posse that's out there to slow people down and give tickets if necessary. So, all right, and that's all I have for now. So with that, how about you, Dan?
I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that September and October for me, Wednesdays are bad. I have a trial, the next meeting I believe is the 10th of September. I have a trial in Kansas City that I have to be at. The 17th is the Special Districts Association Conference. I will try to attend this meeting virtually while I'm up there. The 24th, I'm in a week-long jury trial. That is 99% according to the judge likely not to happen, because there's a different trial here in West Cliff that will take precedent over that one for her. But in case that does happen, obviously I can't be here for that. That is just a heads up that if you have something on one of the agendas for one of those days that you want to chat about.
Days again, 10th, 17th, and that week of the 20th.
Well, basically every Wednesday in September I potentially may not be here. But I will try to be here virtually if I can.
And in spirit, I know.
Well, always in spirit.
Okay. How about you, Katie? I do have one last comment on that, the sheriff's announcement on the VSO issue. There will be no comments and no discussion by order of the court. That's been sealed. So you know, what you've got is a reassurance that life will go on the way it should with the VSO now. All right, with that, let's get on with the next item. Unfinished business, we've got consideration of the IT contract services RFPs. Come on up.
Mr. Vernon.
Good morning.
How you doing, Vernon?
Doing well, thank you.
I'll come to you.
Morning, sir. Bear with me 1 minute, we reconnect.
And Vernon is the Director of Finance for the county.
I'm wearing my 2 hats today.
You got both IT and a, yeah, why did I say that?
Both.
Actually, John ought to do a practice run and give the briefing. Because he is the IT.
That's true. But this also touches significantly on finance, so. Okay, we are reviewing the proposals submitted for our contract IT services, a co-managed IT support model. And I posted this RFP several months ago and received several proposals in response to this. 4 of them came in within the time frame, so 4 of them were under review. We had a workshop. We had a workshop last week wherein we reviewed all of the proposals and came to some spreadsheets that I will share here today. They are beautiful spreadsheets. I will never
If
be
the
on a
IT guy could get
spreadsheet
them
as
up.
beautiful as these. So,
Big beautiful.
yes, exactly. And they are good too. Well, I guess not compared to some of my other spreadsheets, but where would you like to go with this today? We have, as I said, we had 4 proposals.
By the way, explain your color code. Red doesn't mean danger, does it?
Red means that it's not, it's either larger than any of the others, or it's not happening at all. So, for instance, when we look at the 4 proposals, we have a color-coded price line here. For instance, backup data fees charged per gigabyte, green indicates that it was included. So red means additional fees here. Then when we look at this spreadsheet, when we're looking at the current IT support structure, red indicates that these are things that we don't have the budget for, don't have the personnel for, and so it draws your attention to material weaknesses. So where would you like to go with this?
Well, did you narrow it down to a couple, and what's your recommendation? And why?
In the workshop that we had last week, the commissioners narrowed down to 2 proposals between Envision IT and PDS IT. And then I included the current IT support structure for reference.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a recommendation as to which one to go with. Everybody was fairly comparable. It really came down to, as per the discussion in the workshop, it really came down to what services are provided and for how much. So, for instance, Envision IT has an extra fee for on-site support versus PDS IT. It's included, and of course, Custer County will always be on-site, except when we're taking vacation or something,
Right.
which is kind of a joke. Hey, I took 2 whole days off 2 weeks ago, 2 whole days.
Yeah. We're
First
gonna have to
time,
make
first
them
time in
take-
5
We're gonna
years.
start making people take leave,
Exactly.
except for the motor grader operators.
There you go, there you go, there you go. So we look at, excuse me, as I said, everybody's pretty comparable. Certificates of liability.
Why don't you state for the record that who was second? You said Envision was,
Well, these, I don't have first or second. The
well, I don't mean
two,
second, but two, I'm just asking.
the two are Envision IT Solutions that you selected, and PDS IT Solutions are the two finalists that you selected. So,
Meaning that's what we discussed in the board.
yes, sir.
We didn't make a decision.
No, you did not make a decision. These are the two that you wanted to see presented today. The material differences would be the cost difference. PDS IT Solutions is a higher yearly cost than Envision, but excuse me, but certain services are included in PDS IT. So the challenge with this was to create a rubric that we could measure, a spreadsheet that we could see the different services and the different functions, and to see what type of costs would be involved. So Envision IT Solutions has a per gigabyte backup fee, whereas PDS has it for free. On-site support for Envision is an extra fee, whereas PDS IT has that service for free as well. I couldn't get, some of these are apples to oranges. I didn't have the information in their proposals. For instance, Envision IT Solutions after hours on-site support was not included in their proposal, whereas PDS IT was included in their proposal, and it was included in the fee.
So what's the base fee per month on both?
The yearly fee for Envision IT would be $18,800 based upon 80 users and the devices. PDS IT, 118, excuse me, $118,000,
Is that pretty good hiring now?
Yeah, thank you. 118,000 versus 134,000 for PDS IT. Excuse me. Because PDS IT is broken down per user per device, whereas Envision is per user. But Envision IT has additional prices, for instance, projects. And by projects, we talk about, let's say we're going to move from Google Workspace over to Office 365. That's a pretty hefty duty conversion. We did it in the past. We moved from Office 365 to Google Workspace, and it was pretty involved. At the time, and I'm going to go back in time a little bit. At the time, it looked like the state, the feds, everybody was going to Google Workspace. It was a big deal. The sheriff's office moved over, and then
The last
Office,
dog out.
yeah. We moved over to Google Workspace, and then we discovered that a lot of the functions of Office 365 were not being supported in Google Workspace, and we've seen a massive shift in business and government back to Office 365. So with that in mind, the prices that certain people have quoted is anywhere between $3,200 and $6,000 for a conversion from Workspace to Office 365, whereas with PDS IT, it would be included in the fee.
That would be for all 80,
Yes, sir.
$16,000 difference.
Yes, indeed.
Thoughts, Lucas?
From everything that I've heard from both Vernon, the people that showed up, because I walked through most of their presentations, came on site, and as well as John Mapes, PDSIT kind of listened to us the most, which was beneficial, because how do you provide service without listening
Understanding.
to your clients and understanding them? I like that the projects were included, because we have a limited budget. If all of a sudden we have a project that pops up that's unbudgeted, do we not do it? Because we don't have the money to do it. So, and I think we know we have some projects coming up with our, we have
Microsoft's in our future.
Band-aided and did the best we could on a very small budget to get the IT services that we had, and we know that we have taken a hit on our insurance because of it, so we need to adjust some of those things. Maybe it's the cost either way. Either you put it into the cybersecurity or you just pay the insurance to cover you, but I think that's putting the cart before the horse. So I think we know we need to do the right thing and get the right software to protect us. We all kind of saw what happened in Fremont County, and we don't want to be there where they're at, because we don't have the team or the money to respond to something like that. So, or we have other things we'd rather spend that money on. So that's kind of my,
Okay,
If I can make a comment on a couple of your points. Projects are not just the nice to have. If we didn't have the money, we could stay on Google Workspace and make it work. But projects also include the emergency things. Oh my goodness, my $5,000 server just crashed, and we need to replace that. We buy the hardware, and the company that we choose here would set it up and replace that in conjunction with our IT coordinator. So it comes down to what is the man hours versus is this including the cost, and so those are the comparisons. The other issue is, for instance, Commissioner Epp brought up the subject of Fremont. Counties that have cybersecurity data breaches, their insurance goes up automatically. And for instance, in the case of Fremont, they've hired a cybersecurity expert in excess of $100,000. That's one person. Now, then when you start looking at these other line items, for instance, EDR, MDR, which stands for, excuse me, which relates to, excuse me, security management, event management, and SOC, which is a security operations center. We do not have the money or the manpower to, or we have not allocated in the past money or manpower for either of these, and we take a hit on our insurance every year. We have to sign a waiver, a rider that goes onto our insurance. So the end result, I know that this looks like a lot of extra money, but we're paying this anyway. And if we look at the next spreadsheet over here, we look at, and this one's not as beautiful. This is not, it's just as big, but not as beautiful. But in the first year, let's say we were to sign this contract at the end of this month, we would see an additional hit to our budget in the neighborhood of $22,000. Now, by pulling the director's salary and distributing the IT coordinator, on-site IT employee across multiple platforms, in the next year we would be looking at an additional cost of $46,000. Now, some of these monitoring software that we should have costs $30,000 a year. And if we were to hire a cybersecurity expert, a single cybersecurity expert, be in the neighborhood of $100,000 plus benefits and insurance. So the numbers really the numbers start to balance out when you start looking at all the hidden costs for IT. The other option that both of these contract IT services present is the ability to break out and distribute the true cost of IT in the county. So for instance, sir, you have you have an email, you have a workspace platform that costs us $14 a month. but how much does the cybersecurity that's going to associate with that cost? And how much does the IT support for your individual computer and yourself cost? When you start looking at it across the platform and you say, okay, this department has 3 computers and this department has 8 computers and different numbers of employees, we can start to actually distribute those costs more in a more fair manner. So for instance, if OEM has a couple of workers and several computers, we can say, okay, we can distribute the cost of that IT service and maybe pay for it with grants. Public health the same way. We can pay for that as a service instead of County General just paying for the entire bucket and then supporting everyone else.
Okay, Paul?
I was just piggybacking on the cybersecurity, where we are currently and what this would enhance our cyber.
So currently we have email and file sharing cybersecurity. We do not have an EDR solution. That's significantly more expensive. There was a grant which has now expired for Falcon CrowdStrike, which I am very glad that we didn't go with, because it will shut us down for 3 weeks when they had their little mishap last year. Both of these IT solutions, both Envision and PDS, have what they call a sandbox where they manage the updates after they've tested them against their system. And so for instance, I know we've all had the experience where suddenly something stops working or doesn't work exactly right because of an update that has come down and something's changed, and we have to either reconfigure our own computers, or we have to wait for the next patch, and then it starts working again. Both of these companies have a sandbox where they manage those updates, and then they install the updates on our computer instead of allowing Microsoft to dictate the terms on
That's
that.
probably done during off hours, probably.
We can do that, yes.
The other one I had was, I like the part about being included, because of the fixed budgeting. I think that's a smart way to go, because there's a lot of things that come up and you just have to come out and find out where we're gonna take more money from. I strongly like that one.
Good, thanks. Vernon, just one last question.
Yes, sir.
If the IT guy
Mm-hmm.
needs help, and he has a phone number to call, either one of these guys, does a real person answer?
Yes, sir. Both of them have 24-hour help desk support that we can call, we can open tickets, we can manage, we can work directly with them immediately.
And there's no, they'll get to it, they'll prioritize it.
Yes.
Because I'm sure they got other counties and other businesses they're doing.
Yep. What they have is, both of these companies have 24-hour support, and they have what is called a pod system. And so if, it's much like dispatch, wherein you have a dedicated operator for our systems, monitoring our systems, and then if more calls come in, they can roll it to the next group that's going to handle it. So in our current system, when John gets a call and he has to go and help this department, and then he gets another call and he has to help this department, and then he gets another call and he has to help this department, he has to triage each of those specific calls. Whereas with this, you have dedicated personnel who are working on multiple things at the same time.
Okay, and one, before we consider anything else, it's important to understand that this money would be budgeted in our budget meeting for next year, whatever the cost is gonna be. And how much more would that roughly be than what we sustain today in the history of what we've done for IT today? Is it a significant amount, or?
If we were looking at the 2026 fiscal year budget, it will be $46,000 more than what we're currently
To
paying.
support IT
Yes.
today, okay.
Yep.
And so for the finance, big picture, put your finance hat back on. Where would the money come from?
So number of funding options. first off, that $46,000, this gets into the hidden costs. We are already paying some of that in our insurance, okay? But they don't give me a breakout, so I don't know exactly how much. I just know our insurance goes up every year because of the waivers we have to sign. So we're already paying some of that in our insurance. The other funding source is the fact that we can, with this system, distribute the costs across multiple departments, multiple funds. So the support for DHS, well, DHS doesn't have many computers, but it does have users. So the support for DHS, the support for OEM, the support for public health, that could pay for these with their grant systems.
Okay.
Even the sheriff's office has some options to pay for cybersecurity with grants.
And then one thing too that Lucas can comment on is, it wouldn't come out of the road and bridge fund. Or something that we could add to road and bridge, but there is an option in road and bridge that it looks promising for next year too.
Right, so you got 3 people that use computers there, they're either gonna be users, they're gonna be charged this so much per month per computer. And we wanna do the same thing with replacement laptops as well, as bill those out on a monthly basis to every department.
Right.
So this is the true cost of a department and not really have IT as a department so much anymore,
And-
other than whatever we have to do right here, but.
And our initial look at the budget for the road and bridge next year looks like it'll have some additional money from other sources, potentially.
Yeah, hopefully the HUTF funds are more, as they usually are, a little bit, and then, yeah, with valuations going up, there might be a little bit more there too, so.
Okay.
I have one.
And
So when you were mentioning that John would go to different devices, what I hear is they have multiple people, so we could get troubleshooting on 3 of those from them at the same time,
Yes,
in
sir.
the middle of the night.
Yes, sir, if that's what it comes down to, yeah.
And if John needs to step in at any one of those 3, he could bring one up at a time or whatever.
Yeah, so contract IT services is kind of the best of both worlds. So you have one of these companies that is managing the software updates, managing the cybersecurity, the endpoint detection, and any type of cybersecurity incident that's managing that aspect of it. Then you have the on-site manager who can say, okay, so let's say Caitlin opens up a ticket, she's having a problem, then the company looks at her computer and says, you know what, this is something software related, we can fix it. Or they look at it and say, there seems to be a hardware issue. Let me reach out to your on-site manager. John goes over and says, oh my goodness, your battery's gone bad, or oh, your Cat 5 cable is unplugged, or something like that. Not that would happen ever. Or someone kicked out their microphone
But we have
plug out of their
multiple tickets
computer.
at a time.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
Yep.
a benefit.
That's big.
Okay, we spent 20 minutes, we better move on, got a motion. I'll move, can't no comment yet. I move that we approve of the contract with PDS IT.
I'll second.
Okay, now, discussion, any other discussion here?
No.
I think we're good.
Now you can talk, state your name.
Hi there. Commissioners, my name is Trevor Deardorff. I'm with Amnet Computer Networks. We submitted a proposal for this. I believe we were less expensive than the options you're considering. I'm pretty caught off guard. I was invited to come here today. Didn't expect we weren't being considered. But I do know that we were less expensive, and I availed myself to address any questions or concerns repeatedly and got nothing. So I'm not sure. I'm completely caught off guard here today, but we're currently providing services. We're providing your firewall services and have done some consulting with Vernon and John on issues like your Tyler system. And I believe we've performed exceptionally. And so I'm unclear on why our proposal was excluded and would like to address any
It was on there.
questions that were somehow not answered by our proposal, because I felt it was thorough and there were no questions brought to me for clarification. But I feel like this is an important enough decision that if you're not going to execute until the beginning of the year, I came from Colorado Springs this morning on Vernon's invitation, and so yes, I'm a little caught off guard that
Go ahead, Vernon.
I'm not
Okay, got it.
getting talked. Yeah.
As I said at the beginning of our presentation, and I acknowledge, I appreciate your comments. As I said at the beginning of the presentation, we had 4 proposals, and the commissioners in a workshop last week narrowed it down to the 2. So I can put up the proposals if there needs to be further discussion. I don't know what you would like to do.
No, that was
in
the
this
purpose of the
situation.
workshop, was what we did, and so, I don't know, maybe you should have called him and said he didn't need to come. I wasn't aware of.
Well, from experience, I know that everything can change, so I just, I didn't know if there was going to be a discussion about all of them, or just the 2. I didn't know what you wanted to see, so. Would you like more time to consider? I mean,
We have a motion on the floor.
Or we have a motion, yeah.
Can you go to the other spreadsheet, please?
I mean, we went through all the proposals and looked
So
at
it
it.
looks like I've got some red marks there that say unknown. I feel like I answered every question in the RFP, and nobody asked any questions to clarify something
It
that's
was a lot of
unknown.
price in there.
63,000.
But I do believe when we were first reached out to about a year ago, it was on a weekend, and we were Johnny on the spot as far as response time goes, prepared to drive down here and help with an issue that was happening in the sheriff's department. I believe the sheriff could speak to that, and I also corresponded with Commissioner Epp at that time.
So I think, Trevor, I've had some bad feedback, condescending towards my IT guys to help with the incident last year, 100K, and I couldn't pull the trigger, and we weren't going to pull the trigger on that right off the bat without knowing what we were truly going to get. I'm just gonna be honest, you've kind of been on the outs with me ever since that event. Now, there may be some exterior things that were directed towards Amnet that maybe shouldn't have been, but the behavior towards John and Vernon have been less than satisfactory from my standpoint. And I've been just looking at a way to get to a full IT contract service across the board and protect us and not be harassing our employees. Now, maybe it's not as bad as that, but it definitely had some impact on my view of this whole thing.
That's okay, good.
That's what I'm gonna leave.
Okay, let me explain the process. What we do with contracts like this or other things, we always have had a workshop or a look at what it could make the cut, what is good and what shouldn't be considered a waste of time. To meet all the criteria, we had the discussion, and that comment came up, and other comments we had, so there's more to the story. And so that's why we did that, and then we have, could have been 3 selected, but there wasn't, because these 2 were head and shoulders above from the discussion we had when we said, well, let's agree that these are the main 2 that we'll discuss. That's what happened. Go ahead.
Can I just say also, in terms of the bids themselves, the bid that is under consideration currently by motion includes on-site support,
Right.
whereas the bid that this gentleman is talking about has an extra fee for on-site support.
Yeah.
After hours is included with the bid that's being considered by the board, whereas after hours is $180 an hour with the bid that this gentleman is discussing.
Yep, and that was exactly what was discussed in that workshop.
Project fees are included with the motion that's under consideration, whereas project fees are at either $180 or $270 an hour for after-hours projects. So I think that beyond reputational issues, the bids themselves
Right.
certainly provide support for what the.
And this appeared to me, and I didn't state it in that meeting, we didn't make a selection, but this was, in my view, is why I made the motion, best value for the county.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, thanks. Any other discussion? Online? Okay. All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion to award the contract to PDS IT, say aye. Paula?
Aye.
Lucas? Aye. Kanda? Aye. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. All right. Next up's new business, and as always on new business, we'll allow a comment after the presentation and discussion that once a motion is made. So first one up would be accounts payable, and did we lose Vernon?
What's that?
No, I'll go through the.
You're gonna do it? Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'll go through the list of, just about 5,000 and over, that were in the AP for, up through 8/26 of the last couple weeks. County assessor, it's his GSA software, it's the contract, $9,737.50. Buildings and grounds, for CenturyLink, $5,173.35. District attorney, this is 1/12 of the DA's total budget. This is for the month of September, $12,608.49. Road and bridge maintenance, it's to Acorn Petroleum. It's for the fuel that goes down at Wetmore's Road and Bridge Department, $4,883.94. We have one more expense for road and bridge, Old Castle SW Group. It's for asphalt in the amount of $25,071.32. It's a grand total, total AP of $108,041.98.
Ending, what date?
Ending
25.
8/26/2025.
Okay, that's complete. Okay, any other comments?
No, it's good.
Comments out there, any questions? No. Nope, and online? Okay, then I'll call for the vote on that, or a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable on the amount of $108,041.98.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the report as presented. Any other questions out here? That's what we asked for. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Focus on that.
Vote for it. Kanda, aye. Thank you. Next is Virginia, and where did she go?
She had to leave, so I have your.
You gonna keep the one to sign?
I got the one
She-
here.
She's gonna shut.
Okay, been jumping out here.
Thanks, Dan.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Various auto taxes, why is that?
What was that?
The 42 line 42. Disbursements,
Auto tax.
balance, didn't move any.
This for $7. signature on that.
Okay. I didn't have any comment, other than that, you got any?
I have none.
No. Okay, all in favor of accepting the treasurer's report for, I'm sorry, I move that we accept the treasurer's report, that's what I meant to say, Ken. I'm sorry. For June, you knew that,
Yeah.
month of June.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Lucas.
Aye.
Paul.
Focus on that.
Kanda, aye. Now we got the Watts Vehicle Upfitting Services presentation.
Good morning.
Morning.
Where do you guys want me at?
You can sit there.
John Watts.
John, nice to
Perfect.
meet you.
Yeah, there's a mic there, just speak loud.
John Watts, nice to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Are you gonna run it for me? You're the boss of it? You're in charge.
You can stand, yeah, you can sit there and just speak direct, you don't have to get close to that mic, just speak directly.
Don't yell at it?
People,
Try not to
especially
yell.
while look at the chart that you got in your hands.
I do, and I'll try not to yell.
Okay,
All right, so I am John Watts. I am with Leasing Specialists and also with Watts Upfitting. We're a vehicle leasing company, and I also do emergency vehicle upfitting in Colorado Springs. So we build all the police cars throughout the state of Colorado and to some other states, but we also do leasing and vehicle financing throughout Colorado as well as any other states. The sheriff and I have been kind of working together over the last couple months, and his staff, trying to get him and his vehicles kind of up to par, and you guys have done, and he has done an outstanding job of trying to rectify that. So we're trying to help him and trying to see what your guys' thoughts are and kind of how vehicle leasing, financing, and the upfitting kind of works as he deals with the wonderful budgets getting ready to come up. So I probably won't walk through this whole thing. It's probably best for you guys to
just
see.
hit the highlights.
Yeah, you guys review it, take what you guys think. The biggest thing is, a lot of people don't know this, on the vehicle side, when you guys buy vehicles, they're under state contract. So those are typically through a dealership. Right now, Daniel Chevy holds that state contract, which is in Colorado Springs. That's the Chevy dealership. And you have Ford and you have Dodge, right? On top of that, you typically, that car then goes to upfit, right? So upfitting, that's where we build them, radios, all the fun stuff. And right now, we're starting to see typical police cars are running about 90,000 all in. That's radios, computers, body worn cameras, all of the stuff that has to go in these new ones now. And some of the state requirements, I'm sure you guys are gonna deal with, are starting to require some of that on the body worn camera stuff. So we were approached a long time ago when I took over the company. I was a deputy, actually a cop at El Paso for a long time. And that led me into the upfit world, which then led me into leasing because everybody wanted me to start leasing cars. So just a quick rundown. You guys are actually already doing this on the municipal finance side. You did, Sheriff's Office did 3 trucks this year, which was 3 Silverados. They were upfitted with some older parts, kind of put them in some weird spots. But the sheriff really did a good job with what he had. You did a good job. So trying to conserve that. You guys spent $250,000 last year, is that correct, on vehicles?
259, 320 for everything, maintenance, gas, etc.
Okay. And so your annual maintenance cost right now is what he was showing me was about.
For how many cars?
All of them. I don't know how many.
All active ones.
24.
24.
Yeah, and about 57,000 in maintenance, right? That's what we came up with? 47,000 in maintenance
Yeah,
this year.
The maintenance cost has been creeping up, and the highest price we paid was $48,000 in 1 year to keep the cars on the road.
Yeah. So we started looking at that with him going, okay, how can we offset some of these costs a little bit? Because it costs you, it costs taxpayers, everybody wants to lower prices, vehicles are getting expensive, $90,000 a pop. And that's pretty common right now. So we started looking at the leasing side. There's pros and cons to any kind of lease that you do, right? Leasing police cars is becoming very normal. Most municipalities do 3 years, 20,000 mile 20,000 miles a year is typically the restrictions. And the reason it's held at that is the vehicle holds its residual value when it comes back to us. You can move that up, the price goes up. Or you can do a municipal finance, which you guys are already doing with the 3 Silverados. You own those at the end of that term. 9 times out of 10, you want to sell those cars, regain the capital, that goes back into your main budget. That's what most have done. So the pros and cons of the lease side is what the sheriff and I were kind of looking at. It does cost less. So it saves you money in 3 years. However, you do not own those cars in 3 years. They come back to us, you pay a lesser price on the cars, fully upfitted, ready to go. But again, you don't own them. In 3 years, you give them back. We typically sell them to smaller agencies, and that's where we make our money, if they don't get crashed or hit deer. Correct? You guys are known for hitting deer.
There's no if.
Oh, yeah,
When.
it's happening. So as we kind of looked at the sheriff's fleet and kind of went through that, you're gonna probably have to start looking at something in that terms, because right now, most of your fleet is pretty old. Yeah, it's high. Most mileage, right? 150, 200,000 mile cars. So the value on those cars, the minute you say police car in our world, drops that value significantly. Private parties don't want them. They go to auction. Depends on where they go. They bring a lower value. It's just, they get beat up pretty heavily, as you can imagine. And most dealerships, if you guys don't know this yet or not, most dealerships are starting to not look at mileage. They're starting to look at engine hours. So engine hours on a Chevy Tahoe or an F-150 or on a Ford Explorer, they're valuing the car based on that. Because cop cars idle for 5,000 hours, but might have 10,000 miles on it. Right. So they're starting to look at that pretty heavily, which removes the value on that. I ran some brief costs, which is on the almost second to last page, as to a rough sketch of what a cost would look like. And I went kind of through all that. There you go. So for example, cost of a vehicle on a lease at $255,000, that's an estimated cost. And I said, don't hold my feet to the fire, because we don't know exactly what the sheriff's gonna want in cars. Body worn camera changed prices, cars have changed prices, 2026 cars are gonna change prices. So it's gonna adjust a little bit. But it gives you a rough number of about $79,330 a year. That the finance guys do like that, because they know their price for 3 years on that car. It doesn't change, it doesn't get added, there's no fees at the end, or there's no hidden fees, there's no things like that. We understand they're police cars.
What is 20K miles per year?
So that's the mileage restriction I was talking about. Typically, we restrict those miles. Hey, you only do 20,000 miles a year to keep that value of that car when it comes back to us.
So then, when it hits that, we're gonna turn it in?
No, typically,
What happens?
Typically, we put a mileage restriction on it that you won't hit. That's the goal. Because if you go over that mileage of what you guess, they start charging 35 cents and things like that a mile. But the sheriff and I went through that. He doesn't think anything over 30,000 a year, right? Yeah, and that's what most of your cars have. So anything over that.
So if it was 30, does that increase the price?
It does. Not significantly, but we take the value of the car, and that's where the game is played, right?
Right.
We anticipate what that car's worth in 3 years from now with 90,000 miles on it. And we go, it might be worth this. And we
So
hold
you're
that.
taking a little risk,
Yeah.
but you're not taking enough to get hurt.
Depends on if he crashes them or not. If they're totaled out, nobody wins. If it crashes, and we just had one in Oregon, brand new Ford Explorers 2024.
Oh, we've had them here.
Yeah, he totaled it out, it's done. So we send him another car.
Okay.
Any restrictions on type of vehicle?
Nope.
Because 90% of the time we're driving on dirt.
No, most, we were talking about that as
Meaning
well.
what, pickup or what?
Yeah, just,
Most agencies, once we go into the police side of it, that's up to you and the sheriff of what vehicle serves you. It doesn't affect me any. Most are going with the Ford F-150 Responder in the mountains and the Tahoes. The Ford Explorers, not as much because you guys get snow. So the higher,
No Durangos.
I don't yet, we'll do Durangos. I just would say avoid Durangos. On the upfitting side, we see a lot of issues.
is that for revalue on it?
Okay.
Yeah, and they're very well known, and the sheriff can probably tell you his maintenance budget is significantly
Yeah, we don't-
from Dodge Durangos.
I'm just curious, because we don't like them.
Yeah, I'm not, we deal with them all the time, we're not a fan. But, no matter, over the last couple of years, no matter what vehicle you guys get into,
Okay,
Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, it's gonna have issues.
all right.
Um,
Okay, bottom line, what do you,
I'm just here to provide you guys information, as to what it
are your
is.
expectations today?
None, zero. This is to provide you guys information, as the sheriff and I is gonna sit and provide some numbers, and I'm guessing he's gonna come to you and ask you for some vehicles.
Oh, he's always asking.
Who doesn't? Well, I think ultimately as the board, you guys have to decide, would you guys rather lease them and give them back and have lower maintenance
Yeah, we've been
costs?
considering leasing cars for everything.
Right.
Good
Good.
question on the hours. The hours again, is it by type of vehicle or is it 1,000 hours?
I don't monitor the hours. We just put a restriction of 20,000 miles.
I know in the actual, when you're looking at the value of it at turn in.
I don't,
Okay,
not on the
You're talking
hours.
engine hours,
yeah.
Yeah.
just miles.
Yeah, the dealerships started monitoring engine hours and looking at warranties surrounding the engine hours.
And they want to reduce it down to 40,000.
Exactly.
Okay.
Lucas had it.
Yeah,
So what are we gonna get for each vehicle as we turn them in with 60,000 miles and no accidents?
that's under the municipal finance, right? So you would give those back, or you would sell those outright as the county under the finance. Under a lease, you don't get none back. I mean, that's where you pay, you're dumping your maintenance basically, because those hold the 3-year, 36,000 powertrain warranty. So you're gonna have companies come back to you, and there's those leasing companies that'll say, oh, we're gonna give you $10,000 back. Well, there's a cost associated with that and fees associated with that at the end. Typically, it's on, you have dents, you have holes, scratches, things like that. You'll get a kickback on fees on that. So
But
it
in
really,
your case, what do we get? You're just swapping the car out?
yeah, it's a police car. We know
Just get a new
them,
car.
yeah, they're police cars, we know they're police
So
cars.
just a turnover.
Yep. So we give you 3, you give us 3, and so on and so on. But eventually, I mean, 1 year, you're gonna have to probably double up to get the fleet back to where it needs to be to clear out some of them. Probably what would we talk about, 7 to 8? To kind of go, okay, let's start fresh. And then that will start rotating some of your old ones out to have a fresh fleet.
I guess that's a good point, is it's nice not to have the whole fleet bought at the same time. You like to stagger them
Right, stagger in.
as much as you can until somebody cracks one out.
And that's typically what happens.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions for
Any
me?
other questions?
I'm good.
Rich, got any other points?
No, and I talked to several commissioners, there's a magic number out there. If I buy all brand spanking new vehicles and get the first year depreciation, or if I have all old vehicles that are 100,000 miles and then we pay more in maintenance. But I have a breakdown, which I bring to the budget meeting. In '23, we had to pay $48,000 to keep our fleet on the road. And so I want to spend less money on maintenance. And so I don't know what the magic number is to sell the vehicle at. The State Patrol said their original goal was to get rid of them at 100,000 miles, and now they're doing it even less. And so I just want to be, there's a diminishing return, on keeping some of the older vehicles on the street.
Keep us with a steady budget instead of up and down.
Right, and if you see our budget, actually, it goes up and down. It'd be nice if we had one steady number that we knew was that we could rely on. So.
Yeah, budget form. Okay.
I have one on, what was that? say this, if we have a, leased vehicle and it gets turned in, but if we hit the mileage, then we need to rotate it. Do we have a plan to auction or whatever, the ones we currently have? Is that what we're going?
That's up to us.
So the commissioners actually own the vehicles that we have.
Correct.
And so I would like to come to you probably at the next meeting and give you a list of vehicles that I think are time to auction off.
And that's gonna be replaced with leased vehicles, correct?
Could be, we haven't
Could
decided.
be.
Okay,
But right now, we just added these Ford Explorers that I talked about in the last meeting, and so we're caught up, and now we can start shedding the vehicles that are costing us money.
The high mileage ones.
yeah.
Yeah, and again, look at it from two different angles. Look at a lease as a lease turn-in, right? It's always that. Lease, you give it back. There's nothing in return, you don't get any money,
Right,
we're taking the risk. Or there's a municipal finance, right? And that is a tax exempt lease purchase. We have to call it that because of Tabor.
Right.
So you guys own that at the end. You can dump those when you own them, and typically most people do 3 or 4 year terms. There's an interest rate, but it's a tax, it's cheap because it's government and municipal bonds. You can take those and sell those
How many counties do that?
a lot.
A lease, not a lease.
It depends on the agency. For example, we just did, we're doing Chaffee County right now. They bought 10 2025 Tahoes. They're giving me 10 cars that they just want to sell
But
and
that's,
get rid of it.
but I'm talking about once we lease it, how many decide to go and own it at the end as opposed to just turn it in and get another one?
On a lease purchase, they decide that up front.
I get that, I'm just wondering how many do that.
50-50 in most, your smaller
There would be
agencies.
reasons why we would wanna take it, because we're betting we can make more money with the auction.
Municipalities, smaller agencies typically do a lease return because they're doing less mileage. They're not dumping them as quick.
That's true, okay.
Bigger agencies,
Are there any warranty issues because of the type of use the vehicle is getting?
no, you fall under the same, it's a brand new car, so you're following under the same 3-year 36 powertrain.
No
whatever.
matter the use,
Yeah, it's a police car.
type of use, okay.
All right, we gotta move on.
Sounds good. You guys-
Thanks for the info, and
Thank you.
and I know we'll be looking at others.
We appreciate it. Thanks for your guys' time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. You're coming back, right, are you on it again? I can't remember.
He is,
Yeah, you're on again. You're on a couple down. Okay, up next is the Rotary van, and they've been here, they were the first ones to arrive without coffee.
yeah.
Always on time.
Always on time. Okay.
Okay, Nona, okay. And this is Russ Johnson.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Russ. Okay, guys.
Good morning, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I'm the dispatcher for the Rotary Van
Got
Service.
A little close.
Sorry, I'm the dispatcher for the Rotary Van Service. And we're here, you guys talked about budget a couple of times, that's what we're here for, is a request for.
It's our life.
Yes, 2026 budget. Most of the information, I'll just do some highlights. The information should be on the packets I gave you, that first letter has most of the information. And if there's stuff that isn't in there or that I don't cover, feel free to ask. And if I don't have that information, I'll get it for you. So the Rotary Van Service, perhaps you know, but it provides transportation for people who don't have transportation, for medical appointments, errands, medical appointments and errands. We travel to Colorado Springs, we travel to Pueblo, Salida, Canyon City, and then of course here in town. People come down, grocery shop. And we're on track right now to have about 400 rides completed this year, which is going up every year. Last year, just as a highlight, we spent we had over 42,000 miles we put on our vehicles. We have 4 vehicles. And there's over 2,200 volunteer driving hours for our volunteers. One of the, our budget was about 68,000 last year. 22,000 of that was insurance. Insurance is a huge part of the budget. And then fuel was over 5,200, and maintenance was 33, over 3,300. Let's see, we've just started collaborating with several different other nonprofits in town. One of them is we're now picking up groceries for Valley weekly so that they don't have to go make that run with their staff members. We are, with Food Share, we're making some deliveries to some of our clients that have used us for other ride, and we're working on expanding that. That's a new thing that we're doing, a new collaboration. We've also worked with the library, and we're working on with telehealth so that we can bring the clients in to do telehealth at the library. We have talked about that. It's all set up to do. It hasn't, there hasn't been any use of that yet. A lot of it is educating the riders that it's possible, and that takes a lot of time because a lot of them are not computer savvy, and that intimidates them. So it takes a lot of education on that part. We also are working on an MOU with OEM to provide transportation in case there's need for evacuation. And Robin just approached me at the Rockin' the Ranch about that. And it seems like a really excellent use of our vehicles too. And then also we are just the Consortium on Aging has just recently come together, and it's all the agencies for aging, and to make sure that we're utilizing our resources best and not duplicating services. So I just want to give an example of one of the things that we do. Another example, we have one client that we take to Salida 3 times a week, and we've been doing that for over a year. And that ride itself is up to 8 hours per each ride. Mm-hmm. So, and that's one client, just as an FYI. What are we requesting from you, I guess, bottom line? Operating expenses are a significant, 87,000, per year. When we do grant funding, most grants don't cover operating expenses. And so, so there's a need, obviously, for funding with that. We also need a wheelchair accessible van. We do not have any wheelchair accessible vehicles right now. And so the thought is to replace one of our vehicles with that, one of our older vehicles with that, with a wheelchair accessible van. The next thing is that we also need to work on some of our...
Hold it a second, you said you don't have a wheelchair at all?
We do not.
Thought
Yeah.
you did.
We did at one point. We had to sell that vehicle. It was not, we were not able to maintain it.
Okay.
There was no way of maintaining that vehicle, so we sold that vehicle, yeah. So, it has not been usable for quite a long while.
Okay.
And then also, of course, and we also have to work on replacing our fleet as it's starting to age out. In that letter, it tells you how many miles we've got on each of our vehicles for that. So, are there any questions of what I just covered?
So you said you were looking for help, what is that?
Funding.
I know, but what?
Is it
$100,000, is that what you
maintenance
need?
costs?
So it's for the wheelchair accessible vehicle, looking at something new, doing a search online, it's about $100,000. And our budget, $78,000 is not gonna get less. We are doing more rides this year than we did last year. It keeps growing. And as we're doing these other services, our needs are growing too, with food delivery and such. Funding for replacements, we need to start building that fund. And so it would be great.
What's your priority? The wheelchair
Priority
or-
is wheelchair accessible van. And we could probably use that to replace one of the higher mileage vehicles that we have. We have one vehicle that's a 2015, so, or add that to our fleet, if that hasn't been completed.
Russ, what do you think?
You have me?
Yeah.
Your turn,
Oh.
you're up.
Okay, well,
I wanna know if she needs a wheelchair accessible van.
like, definitely, because, some of the people can't lift my chair even though it's only 18 pounds. It's a pain to put in and out several times a day. I'm able to, luckily able to transfer into the vehicles that they do have. I want to say that, it's a wonderful service. Sometimes we have family members and friends who can't help us get to appointments, and they've been a lifesaver for me. Every one of the drivers I've had, and I've had a bunch of them, after my doctor's appointments, I do most of my appointments in Pueblo, but I'll need to pick up a prescription, and so they'll take me and help me pick up my prescription, and I can pick up a few groceries on the way, make one trip do all. It's a wonderful service, and I would really implore you to help us out. It's just something that we haven't had transportation here, and a lot of people don't qualify for the med ride. So this is, anybody can use this service, and it's very viable.
Thank you, Russ.
I have one question is, the cost to outfit a van, have we looked at getting a van and then going ahead and getting a lift put on that van? Is there a cost factor you have on that?
The only one I really looked at was, the new van that's completely outfitted as for wheelchair accessible.
Right.
And that was 100,000. Buying a van and then getting it outfitted, I haven't looked into that cost, but we could do that.
Just looking at a way to
Yeah,
maybe curb that.
compare the prices, yeah.
Yeah,
So, and whether somebody can do that for us in the county, and do the outfitting of it, I have no idea, and maybe decrease the cost.
it would be like a company that does back
Sure.
lifts and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right? There's a mounting thing.
Right.
What's the timeline?
I do have a comment about
Okay.
that, is when I was at the Air Force Academy, I was Director of Transportation, and we used to buy a Sprinter van or a regular Chevy or Ford van, and the Rison lift. The lift itself was $25,000, so $65,000 for the van, and then another $25,000 to install it. Now, this was 11 years ago, so.
Prices have gone up, there's no question.
Oh, yeah, no question.
So what, when this was put on the agenda, were you expecting an amount, or do you want to come back after you think about it and ask what we might, compared to what other things you've got to, other options you have to add to that, to help you narrow down time frame and when you need it and how much, so that we might be able to help with
Okay,
it.
so, let's see, we could come back at another time with some prices. We don't, at this point.
Right now,
we
you
have-
could put it,
we
if we
have-
gave
right
you
now-
$100, you'd take it, if we gave you 1,000, you'd take it.
Yeah, right now, we have no funding, until like the Spirit campaign
Yeah.
gives us a little, maybe we get a grant, maybe we get something from Westcliff, maybe something for Silvercliff. We won't know until everybody's budget is done. So, and going back, Paul, to what you said, it's kind of the same thing, because what I was looking at was a vehicle that is outfitted, so the vehicle comes from the dealership and goes and gets outfitted, so it is the same. After you said that, it reminded me of that, that's the same thing, okay?
Right, your end goal is to get a van with a wheelchair
Absolutely,
accessibility, and there's two
that's-
options, basically, and so what's the cheapest route, what's the best route, and the
Okay.
most cost-effective route,
So-
can have to be the cheapest.
So, you know, the most cost-effective, two options, of course, trying to find used, okay, so how long will that last us? You know, and the used were in the $60,000 to $70,000 range, okay? And we need-
Outfitted.
Outfitted, and being used as transportation like that. And then the new were about 100,000. And so that's a request, that's definitely the request that we have on the table, is for that. And then help with the operating expenses would be excellent, and very, last year's budget, no, excuse me, 2024, we were $38,000 in the hole, from what our needs were. And so, I guess $40,000, you know, to help offset the costs, given it, hopefully we get the same funding that we did, support, and then this would help make up for that, so.
Have you talked to Heart of the Rockies about their van?
Heart of the Rockies here, yes, it's, yes, we talked with the Public Health Department and the Heart of the Rockies, and I cannot remember exactly what it is, but those were not, neither of those were viable options. I don't know why, I can find out exactly why those weren't viable
Part of
options.
the Rockies was a licensing requirement, and the health ban wasn't set up good enough, I think, was the problem with that.
But I wonder if Heart of the Rockies would sell theirs. Maybe that would be a
comment. We asked that,
Martin.
they're no longer functioning here. They're not taking anybody from this clinic there. And so that's one of those letters, we talked to them to see if they would sell us or make a deal with us on that van.
Okay, so we're waiting on them to respond to that.
And that one is sufficient for what we need.
I haven't seen it because they don't have it here anymore. It's up there, but I assume it is.
Oh, they don't have it here anymore. I guess I haven't noticed.
Yeah,
Driving by
they
the
said they don't even have, they can't get a driver for it, and so it's just up at the Heart of Rockies. And so I don't know if it's van accessible. I know it's a van.
It is wheelchair accessible,
So that,
Right, yeah.
and it's all-wheel drive, so.
Decided.
yeah, so we're
Maybe.
trying to, they're working on that to see if that's a possibility, the district there.
Okay.
One more option I see is that the transportation districts down below have wheelchair accessible vehicles. With their budget the way it is and everything, and it may be just turning them over like we talked about the leasing vehicles. There may be an avenue out there that we can get to that would be a less cost, instead of $100,000 for the van, if it's got some miles on it, and we have a maintenance or engine replacement, would be a lot cheaper than a brand new van,
Okay.
or a brand new transport vehicle.
Okay, so what are you asking me to?
Well, here's
Ed,
how, let's summarize it, because we're gonna have to move on.
Yeah,
Bottom line is, you need help with the wheelchair accessible. Got a couple options. What we need, and as well as with Silver Cliff, Westcliff, and any other funding source up here that might be out there, you're gonna have to come and say, all right, of those, how much would you want to have each entity donate to come up with one vehicle, is what I'm hearing.
okay,
Yeah, you come up with a plan for us to look and consider, because right now, I mean, we want to make sure what we do allocate, we can. We don't have a lot to do. I mean, every dime we have an outreach, but we don't have 40,000 bucks in it. And so we could work on what we've got, and also year end, sometimes the year end funds, we may end up, usually we roll them over into the next year for that department or whatever. It could happen that there might be an opportunity to, depending on what the next cycle has, to find some more money like toward the end of the year. Not a donation to the community fund or anything, but it would have to be specific for this. And with some support from the other communities up here.
so.
'Cause our main job is
Absolutely,
roads and security. Sheriff and road and bridge communications, and That's the key, and that, your van would be useless without either one of those. So we've got to be sure we don't rob
Need
Peter
more
to pay
options.
Paul. But we need some options.
Okay, so you want options on a new, unused, Heart of the Rockies?
Yeah, for example, if
Mhm.
Heart of the Rockies would
Yeah.
come back and go, you know, if you can scrounge up $40,000 and we'll sell it to you,
Sure.
that's a good proposal to come back to the board with, and, you know, if you need, I mean, I'd be willing to go with you if you wanna make a presentation for that
Yeah.
van.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing, I mean, I've seen it sit there at our
Yes.
clinic and not get moved, not get used, and it's like, well, let's use it if we can.
Put it in daily.
The other thing is,
Yeah.
I'm on the board with the Central Front Range Transportation Planning Region, and it's still in the planning phases, but there is currently set aside around 230K to replace, for vehicle replacement for our rotary van service. Because we don't have the bus service like every other county does, they're trying to figure out what can we do for Custer, because those busing services aren't fiscally feasible here, so they're trying to figure out what can we do for Custer. So I'll continue working on that, but that's a 27 to 36 planning time. But at least we have something
In the future.
in
He
the
didn't
future
mean
there.
280 for Custer, it's.
No, it's 230.
For whatever it is.
Yeah.
The big picture.
I'll keep in touch with you on that.
Yeah.
I'll keep- Yeah, definitely.
And my next meeting's in October, so we're gonna be going through the 50-year plan, and then probably some of this planning, so
Absolutely.
I can let you know
Yeah, that's
where we're currently at.
And
so
then
that's-
whatever information you need from
Yeah.
us.
All right, before we
Okay.
go for a break, anybody have a comment on this project? No, okay.
Just need more information.
These are veterans and the accident victims, there's so many things that.
That can be used.
for. So I just wanna, it's not just seniors. it's a
Yeah.
lot.
No, that's right, I understand.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It's-
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, it's
Thank you.
break time,
Appreciate your
and
time.
we'll be back
Okay,
in 5.
thank you.
Thanks for coming, Russell.
Thank you.
Okay, it's Bill Kanda, and we're back into session. It's 10:37, and we'll proceed, and I know that, is it Orion? Are you online? Can you hear us? For the Reach Air Medical presentation.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. How's the call? How's the audio fidelity? Pretty okay?
Very good. You're just right.
Awesome.
And we got you on the screen, maybe.
I don't have the Zoom up on the screen, but I'll have his presentation materials on the screen.
That's fine.
Okay.
So,
Well,
Okay,
thanks.
go ahead.
Thanks for having me. In brief introductions, so my name is Orion Lane, and I manage all the county partnerships with our program. You guys probably would know us in your county as Reach 29 out of Salida. We also have a couple more bases surrounding Custer County. And essentially, we partner with a lot of counties in the state to make sure that we're serving the community and doing LZ trainings, lift ticket trainings. And we've also offered our program to a lot of the county employees. It's a great supplement to protect from insurance-related denials related to air medical flights. I've been doing this for about 45 years, and it's a really good supplement specifically for HDHPs, commonly known as high deductible health plans.
Okay, good.
So my interest today was to kind of highlight some of the aspects of our program, give further context of who we are and what we do. You probably see some of our helicopters in the area during scene calls, and we do a lot of interfacility transports. So what the program really does is it protects the consumer and employee from air medical bills. It also pays in full their deductible from their high deductible health plan when flown. That's the big reason why I'm a member, is I have a Blue Cross Blue Shield really high deductible. So if and when I'm flown by AirMed, any of our bases, our 12 bases in the state of Colorado, they will attempt to collect something from insurance. Typically, it's pennies on the dollar, but then all those funds will go towards covering the member's deductible in full. And it's just a lot more common, unfortunately, because as we consolidate hospital systems, and we all have mostly level 3 trauma centers in these rural areas, the likelihood of popping a call and exceeding the medical care of your current hospital is quite high. So I usually tell people if it's more than a bump and a bruise or a broken arm, they typically want to bring us to the front range for that trauma call. And we've been doing a lot of payroll deduct as well as employer paid programs. It boils down to it's roughly about $7 a month per employee. And even if that employee is a young buck and feels 10 foot tall, it does cover their whole household, their whole family or household, regardless of relation. And that's my favorite part about the program is, I'm just partnering down here with Center Police Department. I have, 22 employees, but we're impacting over 100 people once we factor the family impact. And so it's just really important for us. If we're out of date with any of our LZ or lift ticket stuff, I encourage you to reach out, have somebody with your either police department or fire department. We're always here to serve you guys and get you guys, familiar with our aircraft. And I also wanted to kind of open up a little Q&A so we can kind of dig into any questions about where our air bases are and, all that stuff, or maybe any questions on the vehicles we use specifically.
Okay, so I'll just start with a question. How do you, if Joe blows on the street and wants to find out how to get to anybody and get some information, how's he gonna find out?
Like,
Get a hold of you?
you talking about like enrolling, or are you talking about like an emergency? How do they call for
Enrolling.
an aircraft? Enrolling. Yeah,
Well,
for consumers, they can go to the Heart of the Rockies satellite office there, the HRMC clinic that we have. I think it's either Westcliff or Silvercliff. We have a bunch of brochures there. They can just contact us direct online, but we serve the whole community. And it's just pretty common for these flights, you know.
So if we call for support and reach isn't available, I mean, we're gonna go with the, first availability, right? We're not gonna wait for a reach helicopter in an emergency.
It
Correct?
really depends on the medical necessity. If the person, like, let's say it's early term, you know, there's a pregnancy complication and they'd rather wait for the asset that they have membership, they can certainly do that. But we have had a couple instances last year where dispatch wasn't aware of our air bases. It's typically not a matter of if we have vehicles available, it's a matter of if dispatch is functioning properly and knows who else to call. So how it should work in a perfect world is if Reach 29 is busy, we can send our Guardian flight, our Del Norte base, our Alamosa base, Pueblo, Colorado Springs. We have so many assets in the state that even if one is busy, we commonly route up to 280 nautical miles, another air asset in the area. And your county is actually strategically in a really good place because you're surrounded by 3 of our bases.
But this is a proposal for Custer County's employees.
Yeah, this is initial introductions, and I'd like to maybe get on the agenda for a future benefit discussion. Like I said, we partner with Alamosa County. We're working with Chaffee County. Most our small little town municipalities already have us, and you are on my checklist to introduce myself to and remind you that we already service the community. We have a lot of members from your county under us, and it would be a great discussion to start to discuss your employees. It's insurance denials a couple years ago, they weren't so bad, but we're hovering right around a 48% denial rate with these claims. And I'll peel back the curtain a little bit for you on the medical system. There was a law passed called the No Surprises Act. That was a couple years back. That was originally intended to protect us, everybody in this room, as consumers from balanced billing. Unfortunately, insurance companies, all carriers are very smart, and they have 3 main loopholes that they use now. They say air medical transport's out of network. They say it wasn't a pre-authorized flight, which, as we all know, is very hard to do in an emergency trauma call scenario, and or this flight wasn't medically necessary. So they'll actually fight the bill post-flight, post-facto, and split hairs. They'd argue, well, this patient would have just barely lived if they took a ground transport. We're not going to pay for the flight. And that exposes that consumer or your employee up to a 5 to 6 figure flight bill, which can be pretty fiscally devastating.
Okay, I got a quick question. I was just looking at your pricing sheet. So if we're dealing with an employee of the county, I see 1 year is $75, because we're only, what, 180, or we are only 80 people big here. And so, to make it practical, and I'm gonna ask Dan this question, if it's, for 1 year, $75 a head, right?
That's right, and that covers their whole household. That's correct.
For 10 years, what's the advantage here? And can we do it for 10 years or longer, or does it have to be a year at a time?
This
Well-
completely, I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you're paying for it up front, you couldn't bind yourself to pay. It looks like that's probably a one-time payment that covers the next 10 years, I'm assuming. If it was a payment that was split up over 10 years, you would have to have some language in there that would make it subject to appropriation.
Yes, that's what I'm worrying about is, if we want to provide this as a benefit, like medical care, and our employees have benefit. So if we roll that into it, what do we roll them in? We got 80 people, and for how long can we commit to? Is there competition on here that we have to worry about, or is it just the contract over 1 year that we have to?
Who makes the decision who they call?
Well, that'd be a doctor's deal.
That's correct. So it's actually, and that's the best part. So when we come in to train with your fire department for LZ and lift ticket, so your police department, your EMT, and your firefighters have the legal authority to call our air asset. And what's great about that is, let's say you're out in a rural area in your county, and somebody pops a cardiac arrest event. Well, they might be waiting 17 to 24 minutes, depending, and hopefully response time is quicker for ground, but they might wait as long as 15 to 23 minutes for that ground before that ground would call the air ambulance. But now, because we get the dispatch calls, we're in an auto launch area in your county. We can actually dispatch our aircraft when that trauma call goes out. And so we're in the air as ground is already on their way. So it's basically just making a much more robust response time for your county. I mean, at the end of the day, our job is to save lives and transport people within a golden hour. The golden hour is commonly known as the window of time that if we get you to the proper trauma center, you've got about an 80% chance of survival, which is really important.
Okay, because we're gonna have to move on, but, so I'm gonna go back to the same question again. If we roll it into our benefits, are the other districts in the county, have you talked to them separately, or should we go together and say the whole county, you save the price for the fire district, the school district, et cetera?
Yeah, no, I would say let's open up the discussion. We do have some school districts in the area that we've already partnered with, but the larger your group size, the more the rates go down. So whether it's 80, I think the next price cut goes up to about 150 people. It drops, I think, to about 70.
And and my concern would be over 5 years, it says, let's say we take a 5-year deal at 500 people, $270. The next 5 years, it would probably go up because costs might be different, right? Or are these stable for 5 years?
No, they're locked in for that entire period. That's the benefit. We had tariffs smack us pretty good this year. So I'm encouraging some of our partners to go with multi-years if they want to lock in their fiscal rate.
So you're just looking at a presentation today, and then we're gonna have to think about it and get something put on for later.
That's correct. Yep.
Dan, you got a point to make?
No, I think we need to set up a workshop and.
Get all the districts in here that care, and see if we can get a group rate.
And I'll talk to the auditor about multi-year.
Yeah.
Because, we don't want to pay for an employee 10 years up front when.
And then the employee's gone in 2 weeks.
Or 2 years.
Either that or we have to lose.
Or maybe, we have to transfer that to that's a good point. We need to transfer that to the person.
Before we hop off, I can speak to a good program for you guys would be our census program. That's the last option, I think, on your worksheet. So that's basically like a roster or a slot-based system. So if you tell me you got 480 people or 500 people, you would pay for either a year, 5 years, 10 years, and then that's your slot. If John Doe leaves and Sarah Smith joins, you're not wasting that money. So it's contingent on employment.
That makes sense.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time. And if you could have somebody at the county reach back out so we can continue the conversation, that'd be greatly appreciated.
We'll try to get all the district workshop together.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, next up, looks like Rich is back with the Electronic Recording Technology Board. That's an ERTV. Is that it? No, No, I'm sorry, Intergovernmental, I had already checked, no. Intergovernmental Agreement for Parking Citation System.
Okay.
So, one of the duties of the sheriff, we have a contract with the town of Westcliff and Silver Cliff to provide law enforcement services. And both towns have come to us with concerns about parking enforcement. And in the past, I figured it cost us $30 to write a ticket for $25 that goes to the town. So it wasn't an efficient use of our time. And then also, as I said in previous meetings, I don't want the sheriff's office to benefit from ticket revenue. I don't want that to be an option for us.
Because they'll just
So-
blame you for writing tickets to make money.
Right, and so and I would never want to get in the situation where we say, oh, it's December, we're running short on budget, everyone go write a bunch of people tickets, which is not the purpose. So in this case, there's a vendor called Clancy Parking Systems, it's one of the biggest in the nation. And so they have a system which they would provide to the town of Silver Cliff, and then the town of Silver Cliff would provide it to the deputies, and it issues tickets, and it's automatic. You take a picture of the person's license plate, it fills out the name and owner, it looks all that stuff up on a computer, it prints the ticket out, the citizen mails the fee to the vendor. If they don't mail it, it goes to collections, and then at the end of the month, they deduct the cost of the system from the ticket revenue and send the money to the town of Silver Cliff.
So how does it really work? Because you have to take a picture when they park and then a picture later. How does it work?
Yeah, so they provide like an Android phone with their own app and a printer and their software, and
Who they?
this Clancy Parking Systems. And so let's say I find your car parked in a handicap spot without a permit, I take a picture of the license plate and it's ABC 123, the computer
I
looks
see.
up.
So it's actually doing the work.
So it's doing all the
It's
administrative
not
work.
automatically, you're taking a picture of it, you're just walking down the street.
No, yeah. So you take a picture and say, hey, there's a car in a handicap, you take a picture, you click a button that says handicap.
Illegal parking.
Right.
Basically.
And then it prints out a ticket and an envelope, and you stick it on their windshield.
Okay.
So there's no cost to the county.
So Silver Cliff has signed up for it or not?
Silver Cliff and West Cliff both signed up for it.
And so it'd be, who the county to do it to, because you could do.
Well, so this is just an agreement with the town of Silver Cliff and the Custer County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, from your
The
town.
town hasn't yet signed up for it. The town would sign up for it if the county enters into this agreement with the town. So this agreement allows the town of Silver Cliff to sign up for that agreement,
Because they're in a county.
or sign up for that system.
Okay, it's not us spending money.
No, it's not you spending money, it's the town spending the money, and entering into the contract with Clancy. And then because the sheriff's department is technically the town marshal, the sheriff's department would be the one issuing the tickets, using the equipment provided by the contract the town has with Clancy.
And you haven't been doing much of that in the past, because you haven't been enforcing it at all.
Right.
So they're asking for more of your time, but they're gonna make it cheaper because you're gonna have
Make it more
a
efficient.
robot.
Right. So it's not automatic, that the deputy would still be there.
Yeah, he has to
Witness a
stand there.
violation, and instead of the deputy handwriting the ticket, this machine prints it. And,
So right now, no deputies enforcing anything.
oh, no, they are, and
Okay.
in fact, the one that we're focusing on is handicap in
Yeah,
specific.
okay,
And so-
that makes sense, I got it. Perfect.
And then prior to this agreement, the town of Silver Cliff and the town of West Cliff both significantly raised their fees for handicap parking violations.
So is that contract already written, then?
It's in your packet.
Is that the one? Yeah.
Quick question, Rich, on handicap parking placards or license plate. If it's not the license plate, it's a placard there, right in their glove box, does the system see that their placard is active and not issue it, or do they issue it for not displaying it?
No, so the actual ticket wording is failed to display the placard on the rearview mirror.
Okay,
So they have to stick the placard up where you can see it.
I just,
Sorry, yeah.
Even if they had a placard, they can't go and prove that they did and get it
I didn't
without
wanna-
paying a ticket? Or do they-
No, because
They just screw
you gotta
it
have it up there. But as you said, especially the disabled veteran has a special plate
Correct.
with the handicap logo in the middle, so that counts in lieu of the placard.
Oh, okay.
yeah, do that.
Oh, so,
Well, as I understand it, the disabled veteran plates don't actually count as disabled plates.
That's correct, but they do make a disabled veteran plate
Yeah.
with the handicap, so this is
Right,
second.
that's
you'd have to-
yeah.
you'd have to apply
Like a
for the right-
sticker in the middle of it,
Yeah.
a blue sticker,
Right.
yeah.
okay.
And then we also, at the same time, we take a picture of the license plate, we take a picture of the sign, say, the handicap sign or the fire
Verifying
hydrant sign.
location.
Yeah, so we can take up to 3 pictures, which all go into the system, and then if the citizen wants to dispute it, it comes back and you can say, well, here's your plate, here's the sign, here's the thing.
Pay the bill then,
Yeah,
Okay,
we got you.
got enough?
We only have one of these, so it'll only be with one officer at one time.
correct.
So you're passing it around to whoever's got the duty.
Yeah, so whoever the guy is on the day shift probably would have it.
And this is just the town of Silver Cliff. If the town of West Cliff wants to do this, they'll have to have their own agreement with the county.
Okay.
And then they would have their own agreement with Clancy, so there would be a second system for West Cliff. One for, sorry, one for West Cliff.
It seems like it would be a who-list to push on Westcliff.
So the town, I've met with the board and they're very supportive of doing this, and they're just some
Gotta
delays
put it
with
on
their
the agenda
attorney.
sometime.
Right.
Okay. So we're gonna see another one of these maybe.
Probably.
So what you're saying is the town attorney for Silver Cliff is more efficient at getting you things than say.
That's what he said. I heard him
I
say.
highly recommend that guy. The town of Silver Cliff's attorney is right on the ball, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Got a motion? Is this contract, from what I've read quickly right here?
And it gives the option too that the town of Silver Cliff can cancel it at any time if they don't think it's worth it, and then we can do the same as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is it in written?
Yep.
Yep.
Let's see. Do you have a question?
No, he answered it just now.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement for parking citation system between the county of Custer and the town of Silver Cliff.
I'll second that one. Okay, any other discussion? Open to the public. Jim, you want to complain? How about you, Jim?
Either Jim.
The Jims are here. Okay, online? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote, and all in favor of entering the intergovernmental agreement for parking citation system between us and Silver Cliff, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Hold on.
Kanda, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now the technology board. Who's got that one?
That would be me.
Oh, she's got it, okay.
Her name's on it. Oh.
I don't see their name on it, but now I'm glad
This
it's
is,
there. Go for it.
And I want to say up front, I'm not asking for money.
Oh, all in favor, say aye. And let's go.
Okay. I would like to apply for another ERTB grant, which is Electronic Recording Technology Board. If you guys remember earlier this year, I applied for one of these.
Yep.
This one is, so that if I get it, I'll use the funds to buy a new server, and that will be, the server I have now is not big enough to handle, what we do, and so, like the last 2 or 3 months, we've had problems with our recording system shutting down in the middle of, and it's been a real pain.
So John's looked at this and has picked the server and all that.
Yes.
You know you can afford it and what the grant can do.
Yeah, and this will, and then I would also replace 2 computers, Haley's recording computer, my recording computer, and then 2 public stations that the public comes in and does searches. And then our printer. The quote that John gave me for everything is $34,878. And so that's the amount I'm applying for. And so, what's that?
Was there a match?
No, so these are the funds that when somebody records something, they pay that $2
fee,
surcharge
right,
that goes to the state, and that goes in a pot for these grants. So there's no match. These are fees that have already been paid, which makes it kind of nice. So what I'm asking for from you guys today is just permission to apply for this grant and a letter of support.
Okay, question? Motion?
No, I don't think so. I will make a motion that we approve Kelly Camper, the Custer County Clerk and Recorder, to move forward with the Electronic Recording Technology Board Grant to help with the purchase of new equipment for our recording system, as well as approve the letter in consideration of full support of the grant request.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the ERTB grant as presented. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Paul?
Aye?
Lucas?
Aye.
Candace? Aye.
Forgot public comment.
Oh, that's it.
Public comment after the fact. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Free money, wow.
Mhm.
Good job.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last but not least is, I mentioned this up front in the meeting, our position on the unfunded state mandates to sign, to write the letter and put in our unfunded mandates as some examples, and I'll read the important portion of the letter that we have as an example, and that would be the Colorado Revised Statutes 29-1-304.5 was enacted in 1991 and is unambiguous. When the state increases required service levels, it must provide the necessary funding for those services. Without that funding, such mandates are by law optional. So Custer County would exercise its statutory direction, discretion, I should say, when compliance would divert limited local funds from essential community needs. So in effect, we would join other counties, and there's a list of them. The goal is to try to get every county to sign a letter and send it to Governor Polis. They would say, "Dear Governor Polis, President Coleman and Speaker McCluskey," would address that and point out that we are going to look at those options and our issues, and then write the letter that would support, calling them optional, depending on what our evaluation is of each mandate that comes down. And we have several of them, so I would like to see us approve doing the letter, and then with the signatures for all three of us to join the program. Any questions? Concerns?
So from what I have heard, this has never been tested in Colorado Supreme Court, this statute. I could be wrong, but so far from what I have found out, talking to other commissioners, and CCI definitely, I think supports this, because I think the majority of counties support this 29-1-304, and it was a huge topic of conversation.
Yeah.
In some of the legislative sessions that they've held with commissioners, that this is untested.
And when, they're just looking for money, and they don't have it, and yet they put a requirement on you, so.
Yeah, they can
See,
shift
that's
it.
the unconstitutional part, quit passing laws that you can't afford.
And they shift, they don't, if the state doesn't have the money, they shift it to the counties and go, well, the counties can squeeze every last dollar out of whoever.
Which we do. Comment, Dan, anything on?
It's been a point of discussion for quite a while on the county attorney's email list, as to how to deal with this. I know that, I believe Mesa and a couple of other western slope counties have even filed a lawsuit recently regarding the unfunded mandates. Commissioner Epp is correct. As far as I know, this has never been dealt with in a state court. Nobody's actually bothered to try to enforce this statute. There's certainly a question about whether the legislature in 1991 can dictate what the legislature in 2025 can or can't do. Just as much
Either
as
it's
we
a
can.
constitution or.
Well, it's not a constitutional amendment, it's a statute. So
Or a statute or not.
Well, if it was a constitutional amendment, that would be a much different question.
Story, yeah.
Here it's a statute that was enacted by the legislature
Right.
1 year So the question is, can that legislature in 1991 dictate what the legislature in
I don't know,
2025
but
does?
I'll bet you there's statutes from 1895 that are still on the book.
Well, they are, yeah,
And they're
but they don't
enacted.
necessarily, this is the question that the Supreme Court's gonna have to, or
Right.
a court of
If it
appeals,
does.
somebody is gonna have to answer is whether you can bind future legislatures with just a statute, or whether it has to be a constitutional amendment. I don't know, but certainly it's clear that the legislature has for a number of years violated this statute but they haven't revoked the statute still exists, but they've been in violation of the statute through a number of different provisions.
And the counties have.
Requiring the counties to do things that cost money, and that would seem on its face to be against the language in the statute, I agree.
Well, it sure doesn't hurt to join the numbers matter, and, well, I think,
The only other thing I would, I guess, be concerned about when I first read this was that there are some statutes that the enforcement mechanisms of the statutes we're complaining about, I want to make sure that if we are treating something as optional, that could theoretically have a huge penalty to us if it's found that we're violating them. For instance, I think this mentions specifically the accessibility, the website accessibility requirements, and if I recall correctly, that has a private right of action that people can sue the county if we don't comply with it, and we could end up with significant penalties.
those digital,
owing to that
you're
person.
talking about the digital accessibility?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that we don't have, we're not increasing our risk by treating things as optional, that if a court determines that it's not optional, we're on the hook for tens, maybe hundreds of thousands
Well,
of dollars.
here's how I look at it, you're right. All we're doing here, we assess everything individually. If we can do it, we'll do it. And if it's smart, we'll do it, and if we have a danger that we think, just like you said, if we did it, we're gonna really be opening ourselves up, that would be a case by case.
Right.
There's some simple things, even some mandated building codes, or mandated benchmarking the energy performance standards, it costs, those not so much, but so that I can see, and I think the big deal is they would like to see every letter, all the counties, throw it on the governor, and then in person, go to the legislature at some point and say, come on, let's line them out.
You're out of line.
And let's get real, because they represent the people too, and the people are hurting, and we cannot afford to, well, just like you said, it'd be better to have a wheelchair accessible van, a road that's book graded than it would be to do some of the other things they're asking us to do.
And again, Commissioner, I'm not suggesting that the board shouldn't.
No, I know you're not, I'm just making,
supportive of
we're conversational in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, got a motion? Did you already move it?
No, so, they have instructed county staff to treat unfunded state mandates as optional.
We don't have, it's our letter, we have, all this was a
A
sample.
sample.
So we'll get the letter together.
So you're saying, do you want a letter like this, or do you want a letter to Polis saying, hey, or really to our legislature, both Senate and our
That's right, we're gonna
representatives
send it
in
to each of
Colorado,
those, just like they.
saying, listen, there's a whole lot of mandates or Colorado revised statutes that are coming down, and every one has a cost to us that isn't being addressed by the legislature, and we're falling underneath these. We can't even maintain the accessibility thing. So CSU just got rid of all training records because they can't afford to bring all the training records up to accessibility standards. So they just deleted them all off. So is that what we're gonna end up having to do?
No, I think what it is these would be examples, and we are gonna treat each one that comes up to us as they produce them to decide whether it's optional or not. And what we would do about that, it would be done at that time. This is just putting us on the board, is saying, we're gonna take a very hard look at these unfunded mandates now, and treat them as those that we think we can do, we'll do. If we can't, we won't. And that was a sample, we can, so I would like to see us agree to do that, and then we'll type up a rough draft of what we've discussed, and then we can discuss that later. We don't have to bring it into the public again, we can just work it, define it, and decide when we want to send it out.
Well, we can discuss this in a workshop, but
Yeah.
it'll have to come to a public meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's what I meant, but it's not, we're agreeing that we want to do it, and now the workshop can refine the product. This might be.
No, I mean, I think we
You
need
got the
to,
list of the counties there?
yes, I
Yeah.
just saw this,
They're,
sorry.
they're huge, and Mesa County actually is spearheading this. Bobby Daniels is the lead on it. She's been sending us the state stuff. I've talked to her personally, and so there's a category of in-work counties that are doing it and finalized it. So we'll get into the in-work piece with her, and that helps build the numbers counties up for them.
Yeah, and this is a very much, from what I've gathered, especially from the CCI thing, this is a very nonpartisan, we're falling underneath,
State's going broke.
we're under this and we can't afford it anymore. We used to be able to somewhat keep up, but, you know, we've never discussed all the ones that Virginia and the assessor and Kelly Camper have. I mean, Kelly and I have discussed it a little bit from the point of what her job was when she got in office to what it is now. And it's all because of these Colorado revised statutes that have come down and gone, you need to do this, you need to do this. It may not be bad things, probably some of them are very good things.
And some of them are.
Right. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, we clear? Okay. So, you want to move then, do it, or?
A letter of support?
I move that, I'll make the motion, I move that we write a letter to Governor Polis as presented to take, our position would be to do what we've said here on the unfunded mandates, take it into a workshop and refine it later on the number of mandates. These are examples and those kinds of things. So I would move that we take that position on the unfunded state mandates as we described. Make it simple.
You have all that?
That
Just take a.
wasn't simple.
Yeah, well, it would be move to support the unfunded mandate, what do you call it here?
That's optional under CRS 29-1-304.5,
Or we could say protecting local control and fiscal responsibility, Custer County's position on the unfunded mandate.
So as I understand it, the motion may be to initiate the drafting of a
Yes.
letter opposing the proliferation of unfunded mandates impacting Custer County.
Yeah, the letter that we would,
To be considered by the board at a later workshop
Yeah.
/ meeting.
that's what it is.
You can get that off the table.
We gotta start and we gotta. Okay?
You gonna repeat or say what he said?
I'll listen to the tape. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if there was a second yet.
I'll say.
No.
You made the motion.
I made the motion,
I'll
you
second.
seconded it. I'm sorry, I did make the motion,
I was just making sure that was it. Okay.
but it changed. Okay. All right, any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Vote us on
Kanda, aye. Good. Okay, any other items of business? Online, anything?
From me.
Okay, public comment, right here.
Online public comment.
We got one in here, all public comment online. Is there one online too?
Yes.
Okay, let's do Jim first.
Jim?
Okay, my understanding from the discussion you just had, which I didn't have public discussion on because the motion was to formulate a letter to be discussed at a later date. It never said anything about the contents of the letter at this time, correct?
Right, correct.
All right, so it has nothing, not.
We've decided to do a letter that we're gonna work up, and then we'll come and,
And then you'll have another meeting in
Right.
which we'll discuss, okay.
Correct.
So, with respect to the content of that letter, because this is public comment, not,
right,
the question, I have several questions about it, and maybe you can answer them, maybe you don't want to answer them, I don't know, or can't answer them. But it strikes me that we will now have upwards of however many counties there are in the state, 64, having different views on whether or not to obey the statutes of the state of Colorado. And then some will, some won't. The decisions will now go into the hands of, rather than our state legislature and Senate, it'll go into the hands of boards of 3 to 5 people to decide what appropriate laws we should follow. Now, this county has already decided in their wonderful vision of what's right and wrong not to follow the state law on red flag issues. And as a result, potentially, we've had 3 deaths. So while most unfunded mandates aren't going to directly result in citizens' deaths, I hope that business about getting it or taking a test to get a gun may. But at any rate, I don't like the trend of county boards usurping the laws of the state at their whim. That's my comment.
okay, good comment, thank you. And just to clarify, you were right, Custer County will exercise statutory discretion when compliance with divert limited local funds. So that's the common thread on all of them. And that would be something that, like Dan pointed out, could be an issue in the future. Thank you for your comment. Online,
Cindy Howard.
Cindy Howard, go
Hi.
for it.
I've been over working in the southwest part of the state for one of the forests over there, and working wildfire. And the forest I was working on actually has a First Amendment lawsuit going on right now for government social media where comments have been hidden or deleted. And so I just wanted to bring up to Custer County that, you know, these First Amendment lawsuits are a real thing. They're happening. The rules around social media for government are completely different than they are for individual users or nonprofits on Facebook. So when a Facebook page, you know, Custer County Sheriff's or another county agency is hiding or deleting comments, you know, that's a First Amendment violation. And I think it's a potential liability, and maybe something where you want to see about getting Mickey Trost to come down, do some training for your agencies, or just maybe default to turning comments off. But those Facebook pages essentially work like a public meeting, and when you put stuff out there, it's open for public comment, and things shouldn't be censored. You know, and I've seen that happening here, so just wanted to throw out that, you know, kind of seeing some firsthand impacts from the lawsuit over there, and definitely a watch out for you at the county level.
Okay, thanks, Cindy.
So to be clear, you're not seeing it in Custer, you're seeing that there where you're at.
I'm seeing it in Custer as recently as yesterday.
That's very concerning. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Facebook.
That was on Facebook.
I don't have to get on Facebook. But... All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay, with that, let's adjourn this meeting at 11:20.